Talk365TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Brain Rehab Clinic. And welcome back to Talk365TV. Trip Mitchell, Holly Love, talking a little bit about brain injuries in children. And I happen to know quite a bit about this. My alma mater is the school that really took the lead on this, Boston University Med School. And they had a bunch of brains donated by football players who suffered CTE. And how it affected their lives and other athletes as well.
Right.
And they're finding out that these brain injuries a lot of times can happen at youth level. And what is the most dangerous sport for brain injuries? Soccer over football. In terms of girls soccer is huge.
Wow.
And now I just had my annual physical, and my doctor was talking about the fact she bought her son a $250 helmet for hockey, but it's made all the difference in the world.
Really?
So when young kids suffer brain injuries, it can be traumatic.
Well, the thing that I find the most interesting and the biggest takeaway that I've had from working with Dr. Hatch and really diving into functional neurology and neuroplasticity and how fast that industry is changing and what they're learning so rapidly through testing. I mean, it's not just guessing. They have the test to prove it. That most behavioral problems in adults, and especially kids, are due to a brain injury or head trauma. So you think a kid is just maybe a brat, or they're hard to be around, or they are explosive, or they have anger problems, and you make it a character flaw. Kids, and again, adults alike. But what I've learned is through brain rehab and healing the brain, if there's trauma there to the brain, those behaviors go away, and all of a sudden you have a more compliant, you have a more happy, you have a more positive. It's amazing that the brain runs the show and how much that applies to the emotional side of things. So you can learn all about what they can do at the Brain Rehab Clinic to help you with your kids from newborn all the way up. So check it out.
Talk365TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Brain Rehab Clinic with wellness team expert Dr. John Hatch.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Talking Wellness series on brain function. Today I am back at the Brain Rehab Clinic with our favorite brain expert, Dr. John Hatch. Hi.
Hi, thanks for coming again.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love a good conversation with you because they're all hot topics. Everyone wants to know how to up-level their life through up-leveling their brain. So today we are going to talk about the developing brain and what is happening there and why we have so many kids struggling with ADHD, emotional disorders. There's so many parents out there who are at the end of their rope, teachers who have given up, kids who are just struggling from every aspect you can think of and going on medications younger and younger and younger. So what's going on?
Yeah, you have a huge spectrum here going on. We have kids that aren't talking, aren't focusing, aren't learning, or are really quiet. And then we have the kid that's jumping all over the place, won't pay attention, is aggravated, upset, angry. And so people don't know what to do. And the medication is kind of like well, let's try this, we're unsure, we're not sure of this part. The developing brain is actually more simple than we give credit to. It builds building block upon building block like you're building a house. You build the foundation, you build the framework, and then you get it into the details. A lot of people are jumping so quickly to the details of a child's brain and they want him to do mathematics, but they don't have the right sensory system correct to even develop the mathematics. And so we're able to see so many different walks of life here in the clinic because through our diagnostic tests, similar to our aging brain, we can see what hasn't developed yet. Because we know how a child's brain develops. Hey, at this stage you should be here, at this stage you should be here. And a lot of parents are like, oh, we missed that window, so now there's no hope there. No, there's complete hope. You can miss 3 of the steps. Your brain can still adapt, you can still make changes. These young brains develop faster. The difference in the clinic is you might not see the same quick result because the quick result is with an already existing brain, like an elderly brain or a teenager or an adult, that you quickly just reconnect things. With a child, it's exciting because you're actually developing a pathway that's never existed for them. The outcome is like
huge, life-changing, so life-changing. Every experience they're going to have from that point forward is going to be different from that point forward. Well, let's talk about the things that may be contributing, like an injury that you don't know about.
Yeah, a lot of times injuries are hugely affected. People will come in and say, oh, my kid's never hit their head. And I'm like, I have a 2-year-old, he falls all the time. He's had more goose eggs than most humans should. And we know that's gonna change how the brain adapts to the environment. Or the child that doesn't sleep through the night. And the parent's like, I've tried everything. Melatonin's not working, supplements, medication's not working. It's how the brain's developing.
You talk a lot about how, we are in this world with technology and the coolest things, how to make your brain be able to work within it faster, better, stronger, never use it.
Yep. So the technology is intelligent. People always ask me, what's your law on screen time? I don't have a rule on screen time because half of the fathers or moms are sitting at a desk job all day for 15 hours a day. So the amazing thing is it's not the lack of screen time. It's where are your eyes in association to that screen. That's what I'm looking at. So the biggest thing that I see with patients in developing children's brains is most of them, if you watch them, it's not their bad neck posture because their head's down. It's actually because they're starting to bring their eyes into a cross-eye, we call it a convergence, because the target or the image they're looking at is closer. Look at your average 2-year-old, 4-year-old that's watching a video. I mean, it is under 8 inches. They're like this, and they're in a cross-eyed state that is activating their fight or flight stage in the brain, and that's developing. So they're developing the fight or flight with the frontal lobe that is causing their eyes to move all around. So they're not getting the same sensory aspect, and it develops gut issues. It develops these food sensitivities that we've seen higher in today's society than ever before. We've had so many patients that have come in that have had a child that's so underdeveloped that they say, well, they'll never speak, they'll never learn, they'll never read, they'll never walk. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, 18 months later, that child's walking, reading, focusing, playing, doing all the things that the world has said, you got a broken child, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't think any child's broken. I believe every child has a chance if we can activate their brain right. Even the anger emotional traumas are more neurological than they are emotional.
Which I think is something that is mind-blowing and empowering at the same time for parents who are struggling with those kids that are just anger reactive all the time and hold on to anger and are having a hard time having friends.
Yes. So a lot of times people focus too much on frontal lobe development. So what I've noticed is instead of this whole focus that frontal lobes are the problem, what I've seen neurologically is it's more sensory imbalance. There's a lot more sensory connections that are broken, that aren't activated right because we're not moving, we're not as active as we once were, that we don't have the same ability to develop the sensory pathway. So then the frontal lobe develops too fast, but has still an underdeveloped sensory system. So then they start talking and acting like an adult, and they're 6 years old, and you're having a conversation with a 6-year-old that's like, this is the most frustrating thing ever, but their sensory system is underdeveloped at like a 4-year-old, so they're not even comprehending what's happening. So what I've noticed, tantrums, like hyperfixations. I know you know what I'm talking about. When that child just fixes, and it's like, why can't the child break that? It's because of its development, not because it's strong-willed or misbehaving.
And so kids coming in here, what ages, how should people be thinking about bringing their children into brain rehab?
Well, when I look at a child, it's where are they at in their development. Truthfully, with all of our diagnostic tests, from about age 4 and up, we can do most of the diagnostic tests on any age 4 and up, unless that brain is really underdeveloped because they don't want to put a goggle headset on or they can't stand still. There's still information we can gain. I've seen patients as young as 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in that first year of development, and the child isn't latching on right. The child isn't tracking right with their eyes or cross-crawling at month 6 or month 9 or whatever it may be. With a newborn or a younger child, there's still based neurological testing that tell you where the brain are broken down, like a Babinski test. You can tell more out of a Babinski test than any other test on a child, and you see these reflexes and say, that is abnormal, let's apply some therapies and see if we can get it to change.
Is it the same for kids as it is with adults? It's a little heavy at the start. If you can get in here to the clinic, how does that work?
So we like to see a brain for a whole week, and the reason why we like to see it for a week and see it every day is we're not going to see symptoms change unless we can see the brain change. And a brain can change pretty rapidly. So we can see changes and results pretty much each day. So as the brain's developing, it should change and shift, change and shift. We should see an outcome by the end of the week. That's why we do such a week intense. And then from there, it's about empowering the parents and the child to get to that 3-month mark. It's amazing when we look at these results and we see a child go from can't focus, can't read, to now top of their class, really focused in school, 3 months, 6 months later. It's our responsibility just to get the therapies right for them. And no two brains are the same, which is why a cookie cutter program doesn't work on a developing brain. It will only get a few of them. The key is getting every child, because every child matters. And when the child believes in themselves, it even takes it to another level. When a child can see how bad the system really is, it validates in them, I'm not broken. I'm not something that's a lost cause. There really is a reason why I can't read or I can't focus. I want that confidence in that child.
Yeah, I think the main point that I would recommend is come in. Because what do you have to lose except for a child that has everything to gain and a whole new life to experience in a different way? And the testing here is so thorough and so on point that you're gonna know if this is the right thing to do or not. So the best way is log on to his website. There is tons of information there. There are online trainings and there are even initial consultations that you can purchase to learn more before you even need to come in here to know if this is the right thing for you, your family, your child. And then get in here, get this work done. Your kids are gonna thank you. You're gonna be happier, everyone's happier. When the brain is happy, everyone's happy. That's what I've learned.
So true.
Well, Dr. Hatch, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I can't wait till the next round, but in the meantime, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right here on Talk365 TV right after this.